Hi everybody and welcome to Los Angeles English School. My name's Helen. I'm head teacher here and you're very welcome to my lesson. If you haven't subscribed to this YouTube channel yet and you'd like to get notified of all our upcoming videos, make sure to click the subscribe button and also the bell icon. So today our lesson is gonna be about IELTS and specifically about IELTS writing task number 1, and it's for academic module. So if you are here, by the way, hi, if you are here with me today and you joined me, I'm very glad to see you. And if you are going to take academic version of the IELTS, make sure that you listen carefully. So today we're going to talk about describing maps. So this task is completely different from graphs and tables, so where you have to describe the information that you see in the graph or the table or different charts. So the approach to tackling this task is different. So I will give you an example of such a task. So let's look at it. So this is an example. So what you could see during the exam. So there will be two different maps. So with the same place. And there will be different years and some changes will happen to the same place over the period of time. And what you have to do is you need to describe the changes that happened to the place. So here now, as an example, you can see the Charlotten. It's the town. Of course, it's not real, I think. So, and here is the Charlotten city center. And you can see that the city center was changed from 1985 to 2015. And during the exam, you will have to describe the changes that happened to the city. So for the majority of my students, this task is much easier than describing graphs and tables. So actually, it looks easier. Yeah, so I think for us, it's more common to see different changes in reality. Like it's not a graph, and so we can see them, and it's these changes are real. And so for majority of students, it's just much easier. So I give you a minute, and I'd like you to look at this map, at these maps, and I'd like you to analyze these maps a little bit. So what changes do you see here? Just take a moment. So while it's important to describe all the changes, so make sure that you don't skip anything and you see everything that was changed and you put this in the body paragraph. It's also very essential to write an overview or also a conclusion, because assessment criteria are exactly the same for both tasks. I mean, for describing graphs and for describing maps. And there is an assessment criteria which I'll show you in a few moments. Just a moment. And I would like you to look now at this assessment criteria. Yeah, and what we see here, so we still have the same things. We have task achievement, we have coherence and cohesion, lexical resource, grammatical range, and accuracy. So we have all the same things. But what's different? So for example, if you look at task achievement, we have here presents, highlights, and illustrates key features, bullet points clearly and appropriately. Also presents a clear overview of main trends, differences, or stages, and presents an overview with information appropriately selected. So what does it mean? So it means that for graphs, of course, or tables, we take these key features or key bullet things and we put this in the overview. So we write overall and we can, yeah, present only main things. What to do in this case? So what to do if we are looking at maps? So if we are looking at maps, here the structure of your answer would be a little bit different. So because you need to describe all the changes, so what goes into these key points, what goes into this overview. So it's the same, like it still can be called an overview, or also you can call it a conclusion. So if we look at the map, just a sec. So if you look at the map here, what could be possibly what could possibly be key features? So usually they present some things like why, for example, they changed the town or the place. How was it changed? So what was the main purpose? So if you look here, for example, what main changes do you see? Like what is the main purpose of those changes? So if you have some ideas, could you please let me know in the chat box? So let's think about the purpose of this change, not just everything all together. So what do you guys see? Yeah, I can see that Victoria wrote library instead of the swimming pool, more houses were built. Yeah, so these are all the changes. And why do you think these changes were made? So how these changes affected this place? So guys, the main changes here, as you can see, the first thing it is that now more people are living in Charlottetown because more houses were built. Exactly. So you can see it here. Also, the city center became more accessible. So you can see that the pedestrian crossing was added, and also they built a cycle lane. So it became more accessible to visitors so that other people who don't live in the city center can easily access the city. Also, very important thing is to look at the place that was changed in terms of environmental protection. So now environmental protection is a hot topic, so to say, and during the exam, they also try to think about it. So you also need to think whether the place became greener or maybe they cut down all the trees. So what do you see here? So in terms of environmental protection or in terms of the city becoming greener, so what do you see here? So if you noticed, they actually enlarged the park. So there was a huge swimming pool earlier, if you look at the top of the map. And the park was really small, but now the park is much larger and there are more trees. So also they planted more trees here, and they erected a fountain and they planted trees around the fountain. So you can see that the place became much greener. So this is one more key change. And they enlarged the shopping center, if you can see. Yeah, so in general, the city became much more accessible to visitors. More houses were built, so much more people live in this center, and the city became better for shopping. Yeah, so these are key features, and this is our overview. But you know, in this task, the overview looks more like a conclusion, and we'll take a look at the plan in a few moments. So now let's take a look at the plan. So it is still called the summary, and the requirement is to write down at least 150 words, but you should write at least 170 words. It's highly recommended. So also make sure that you don't spend more than 20 minutes for this task, because you will also need to write down the second task, which takes longer and maybe it's a little bit more complicated. So that's why 20 minutes and at least 170 words. So how the plan looks. So as usual, we need an introduction. And in our introduction, we do the same whole thing. So we paraphrase the main question of the task. So this is what you do. The next, we write down body. And in our body, we describe all changes that happened in a logical way. So don't forget, you have to describe everything that happened to the place. And it can be just one piece. It's one paragraph actually, so you don't have to divide it into different paragraphs. It's okay. So introduction, the first paragraph, then body, all changes, overview, or I would rather call it conclusion. So summarize only key changes and say how they affected the place in general. So a reminder, so how they affected the place in terms of maybe technological improvements, maybe accessibility, maybe in terms of the environment, so maybe it became greener, or maybe all trees were cut down and people really didn't worry about environmental protection. So this is your conclusion that goes to the end. So it's our plan: introduction, body, and conclusion. All right, we also now together will practice vocabulary and the structure and what to put in your sentences. So let's do it. And I forgot to tell you, I also encourage you to be active and to type your answers in the chat box. So feel absolutely free and don't worry about your mistakes. All right, so we were talking about this charlatan. And here we have some important information, and we will practice this together. So here you have that the IELTS Writing Task 1 band descriptor for task achievement at band 8 states, presents, highlights, and illustrates key features clearly and appropriately. To achieve a high mark, it's extremely important that you study the map very carefully and ensure that the information you include in your writing is accurate and appropriate. Describing changes that do not appear in the map will result in the loss of marks for task achievement. Let's practice. Yeah, so we will practice how to say about these changes, how to identify these changes. All right, so we have the first sentence here. So the park was extended as a result of the swimming pool being demolished. So let's take a look at the map one more time. And you need to tell me whether it's true or false. So the park was extended, was made bigger as a result of the swimming pool being demolished. So is it true or false? Is it yes or no? And the answer is yes. Yeah, we can see this. We can see that the park was really small, it was extended, and the swimming pool was demolished. Now we have the library, which is smaller. All right, we have the next statement here. Charlatan became a less visually attractive place with fewer trees being planted. So let's look at this Charlatan city center again. So fewer trees were planted or no? Of course, the answer is no, because it became a visually more attractive place, and we have more trees, and we have a fountain here. All right, so let's go on to the next one. So the bus station was relocated to the south of Charlatan to make way for the expansion of the shopping center. So is it yes or no? Just take some time and give the answer. And the answer is yes. So we can see that there was the bus station here, but then it was relocated to the south. And you can see that the shopping center was extended. It became much larger. All right, number 4. Nothing has been done to improve the area for cyclists in and around the town. So is it true or false? So nothing has been done to improve the area for cyclists. So let's look at the map one more time. Of course, it's not true, because we can see the pedestrian crossing and the cycle lane, and they didn't exist before. Number 5, it's possible that fewer people are living in the center of Charlottetown because there are now fewer houses between the shopping center and the main road. Is it true or false? So let's check this thing. So you can see that next to the shopping center, there were just a few houses. And now the number of houses almost tripled, so it tripled actually. Of course, it's not true because much more people now can live in the center of Charlottetown. Number 6, the cafe has been replaced by a fountain, arguably making the center of Charlottetown a more pleasant place to visit. Let's take a look. Yeah, so there was a cafe, now there is a fountain. And probably it's a more attractive place, arguably, because it's not a fact, yeah. Maybe some people don't like fountains. So the answer is yes. Right, guys, I see your answers. Thanks for participation, and we're moving on. So the next thing that I'd like to practice with you guys is vocabulary, and specifically, we're looking at different verbs that describe changes, because normally something is built and something is torn down or demolished. So we can, usually you will need to describe that something was built, something was removed, or something was changed. And you can see here different verbs: knock down, enlarge, erect, develop, contrast, convert, modernize, tear down, extend, refurbish, alter, put on, renovate, relocate, demolish, and flatten. Let's put these verbs into the correct column. So what's the meaning of each word? Does it mean build, remove, or change? So let's do it together. First, I'd like you to look at these verbs and to think a little bit. So just take a minute. All right, so if we take the first word, which is knock down, so what do you think, guys, it means? Build, remove, or change? And the answer is remove. For example, the swimming pool was knocked down, or the building was knocked down. All right, so we're ready with this one. So enlarge, make something bigger. Build, remove, or change? And the answer is change, of course. So the shopping center was enlarged. And also, usually, it's better for this specific task to use passive voice. So instead of saying they enlarged the shopping center was enlarged. It's just more common. The next word, erect. Build, remove, or change? And the answer is build, especially about the buildings and statues, fountains as well. So, what do you guys think about the word develop? Is it build, remove, or change? It's interesting what you think. So normally develop is associated with change, but not with building. But in building, they use the word develop in order to describe that they built a house or something. So develop actually means build something. So, and if you want to say that they built, for example, the road, you can say they developed a road, the road. It doesn't mean that they changed it. So, construct. Of course, it means build. What about convert? So guys, convert means change. So they converted the library, for example, into a business center. So convert means change. Modernize. Modernize also goes to change. So what about tear down? By the way, three forms are tear, tore, torn. Tear down, of course, it goes to remove. So the building was torn down. Extend. Extend, it means to make something bigger. Extend goes to change. So they extended the shopping center. What about refurbish? Refurbish. Refurbish means to make something look nicer, more modern. And refurbish goes to change. What about the word alter? Alter. So alter is just a more complicated or a more advanced way to say change. So the city was changed a lot, or the city was altered a lot. What about the word put on? Put on. Interesting. It's like you can put on your jacket, you can put on your gloves, or it also can mean build. A new swimming pool was put on. Was built there. Renovate. Of course, renovate goes to Colin for change. So we have three words left. Relocate. So to replace to a different place, location. Relocate. So the bus was relocated to the north, for example. And we have two more words. You can see that all of them go to remove. So demolish means remove, and flatten also means remove. So this is the way how you can use synonyms to make your answer better in terms of using synonyms and more advanced vocabulary. So let's go over these phrases together again. So instead of saying build, you can say erect, develop, construct, put on. Instead of using remove all the time, you can say knock down, tear down, demolish, and flatten. Instead of saying change, you can use the words as enlarge, convert, modernize, extend, refurbish, alter, renovate, or relocate. So I hope that you remembered all these verbs. All right, so let's move on, guys. Also, we will do one more exercise together. And I also encourage you to take active part in doing it. So also make sure that you make extended sentences, that your sentences are not very simple. So you try to make them more complicated and extended. So here in the table, we have sentences which are much more developed than the sentences here. And what we need to do, we need to match the extended sentences to the sentences which are simpler. So let's take a look at our first sentence, which is simple. So there was a swimming pool, but now the park is bigger. There was a swimming pool, but now the park is bigger. Let's look at these sentences in the table and let's find a more developed version of this sentence number 1. So how can we say it in a better way? So I have a question here. Victoria asks, can we say establish, a new school was established? Yeah, I think it's better, like, not better, sorry, for if it's possible. Yeah, why not? Yeah, I think it's a great word. All right, so, and the answer is this sentence. So this is a more developed version. So instead of saying there was a swimming pool, but now the park is bigger, you can say Charlotte's swimming pool was replaced during the expansion of the park. Let's look at the second sentence. The shopping center was changed and it became larger. The shopping center was changed and it became larger. Find a more developed version of this. So, and this is a more developed version of this sentence. So the old shopping center was enlarged to take the place of the former bus station. Let's go to sentence number 3. The bus station was then put behind the car park. The bus station was then put behind the car park. And the answer is here. So the old bus station was demolished and rebuilt behind the town's car park. So I hope that you feel that these sentences feel more developed. Number 4, a bicycle parking area was added to the car park. A bicycle parking area was added to the car park. And the answer is here. The old car park was extended to include a new space for bicycle parking. So, number 5, Charlottetown now has a new business center in place of the library. Charlottetown now has a new business center in place of the library. And the answer is here. So Charlotte's library was relocated and the old building was converted into a business center. Let's go to number 6. Some houses were built and now there are more. Some houses were built and now there are more. And of course, it's very easy. The answer is here. A few new houses were constructed in the eastern part of the town. So let's cross out this sentence. And we have only one option, which is left. So instead of saying a water fountain replaced the cafe in the west, you can say something like this. The cafe was flattened and a fountain was erected in its place. So here is just an example of how you need to try to make your sentences more developed, try to use more advanced vocabulary, and you will higher, of course, your score in such a way. All right, so let's move on to the next task. So what I'd like to look at first is, so here in the table you can see some tip. So examiners look for a clear central topic in each paragraph with relevant, logically extended and supported ideas. So you need to extend your sentences relevantly and logically. For example, the road to the east of Charlottetown was widened and a cycle lane and a pedestrian crossing were added, making the town more accessible. So you try to explain why it was done and it is in a logical and relevant way. So let's practice this. So sentence number 1. Between 1985 and 2015, Charlottetown went through some substantial changes. And we have two options, including the loss of its swimming pool because people prefer walking to swimming, or including the extension of the park area to replace the swimming pool. So what do you choose? Option 1 or option 2? Of course, it's including the extension of the park area to replace the swimming pool. So this is a more logical way to describe the substantial changes. This is one of the most substantial changes here. All right, so let's move on. Number 2, the cafe in the shopping area to the west of Charlottetown was flattened and replaced by a fountain. And this in turn resulted in more trees being planted in the area to make it look greener, or which meant that more restaurants were built to accommodate the increase in people visiting Charlottetown. So let's take a look at this. So you can see there was a cafe, and this is the shopping area. So what happened? So they built the cafe. So they knocked down, they built the fountain. So they knocked down the cafe. So, and as a result, what happened? So, and this in turn resulted in more trees being planted in the area to make it look greener. So this is actually a better way to finish the sentence. All right, so let's go to the next one. In the east of Charlottetown, the bus station was torn down and replaced by a new shopping center. That was an extension of the old one, or was given the lovely name Bluebell. Of course, it was an extension of the old one. So number 4, a pedestrian crossing was installed across the main road to the east of the town, giving pedestrians better access to the park, or allowing pedestrians to cross the road more safely. Of course, if you take a look at this pedestrian crossing, yeah, of course it made the easy way for a pedestrian to cross it. So I'm sure that it became safety. So became safe, sorry. Yeah, but it's not the main idea why it was built. So the main idea is they wanted to allow more people to come to the park. So giving pedestrians better access to the park. So number 5, in contrast, the L-shaped shopping area to the west of the town was not altered in any way. So if you look here, you can see that there was these shops, and they were not changed in any way. And neither was the car park to the southwest of the town, or in addition to the number of parking spaces available. So if you look, the car park also remained in the same place. So, and this is a more logical way to finish the sentence. So that's why it would be this one. And neither was the car park to the southwest of the town. All right, so how did you do, guys? I hope you did well. And finally, we can see the model answer. So this is the whole answer. It has introduction, the body, and the conclusion, or you also can call it overview. So let's read it together. The two maps illustrate the changes that took place in Charlottetown Town Center between the years 1985 and 2015. Firstly, Charlotteton's swimming pool was replaced by the expansion of the park. Furthermore, the town's library was relocated and the old building was refurbished and made into a business center. In addition, the cafe to the west of the town was flattened and a fountain was put up in its place. Moreover, some of the shops surrounding the former cafe were renovated and some new restaurants were erected. The old shopping center was enlarged to take the place of the former bus station, which was knocked down. Nevertheless, a new bus station was built behind the town's car park, which was altered to include a new bicycle parking area. The number of houses tripled as 8 more were erected in the eastern part of the town. Finally, the road next to these houses was improved, a pedestrian crossing was added, and a cycle lane was built to improve access for both cyclists and walkers. So this was the body paragraph. You can see it's the whole one piece, and I can see here very important words such as firstly, furthermore, in addition, moreover, nevertheless, finally. So guys, these are all great words to include to your task. And finally, we have a conclusion. To sum up Charlottetown went through a lot of changes between 1985 and 2015. The number of houses in the area increased, but the town center became much greener, and the number of facilities and amenities available to local residents and visitors to the town rose markedly. So this is the conclusion. As we were talking about this before, at the very beginning, I said to you that you have to look at key changes and how they affected the place in general in terms of technology, in terms of facilities, in terms of the environment. All right, so this is a very good answer, and you also can do something like this. And I have a little task for you at the end of our lesson. So here you can see two maps, and these are changes that were made to Science and Technology Museum. So guys, what I'd like you to do is have this task here. So you can see what the maps show. Yeah, so it's better like this. All right, so it's your homework. Analyze these changes that were made to the Science and Technology Museum. Think how you're going to organize your answer, and you can type in the comments to the video. Type your introduction where you paraphrase this prompt sentence here, and type your conclusion. So what key changes happened and how they affected the Science and Technology Museum in general. So why these changes were made actually. But if you'd like me to assess the whole answer, you can visit our website, losangeles.englishschool.com, and you can check our service for writing correction. And you will get everything you need to, you will see your band score, you will see what mistakes you made, and you will be given all necessary information on how to improve your answer and a lot of tips. So make sure to visit our website. Also, if you want to prepare for IELTS or TOEFL or just study with us, also check our website, losangeles.englishschool.com, and join us. All right, this brings us to the end of our lesson. As usual, I was really happy to be with you today, and thank you for joining me for this lesson. Again, a reminder, if you'd like to get notified of all our upcoming videos, make sure to hit the subscribe button and also the bell icon. Thank you guys for being with me today, and I hope to see you next time, and I hope to see you in my next lesson. Have a nice one. Bye.